Raider Nation, good morning. It's time for you to be honest with me. Should the Las Vegas Raiders sign Shaquill Griffin? My answer coming up here in just a little bit. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, I'm going to tell you why I think that the Las Vegas Raiders could really sign Shaquill Griffin to reunite him with Pete Carroll. This has not happened yet, but just the way that I think that Pete Carroll and this entire organization operates, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Raiders honestly signed Shaquill Griffin, maybe even a little bit later on today. The reason why I think this, and I'm going to outline multiple reasons why I could see the silver and black signing cornerback Shaquill Griffin, and the very first reason is he had a visit on Wednesday, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday during our breaking news show when the Raiders went out and signed Germaine Pratt, and if you missed it, I'm not really going to blame you. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but the report came in from ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler that said that free agent quarterback Shaquill Griffin is visiting the Raiders today per source. The reason why that's very important is because of his connection to Pete Carroll to Seattle, and we know from free agency, honestly, even from the draft, if there was a coaching connection in some way, shape, or form, I think that matters to the Raiders. Now, I understand this. Some of y'all might be going, all right, Mitch, who exactly is Shaquill Griffin? He played college football at UCF. He's 6 foot, we'll call him 200 pounds. Last season, actually had a pretty damn productive season with the Minnesota Vikings, 41 tackles, 2 interceptions, 6 PBUs. 29 years old. He is going to be 30 on July 20th, so that's birthday right around the corner. 8 years in the National Football League. I would say most notably with Seattle, with Pete Carroll his first 4 years. Then he kind of bounced around. Jacksonville wasn't great. Houston, not great. Carolina, honestly, not that great either. Minnesota, though, last season, I think proved that when you got good coaching, good shit can happen. Also, twin brothers with Shaquem Griffin. He is the linebacker, and when both of those players were coming out of UCF, I thought, really, really cool dynamic overall because also both of the Griffins got their start in the NFL with Seattle. Now, I am a diehard Raiders fan, and I am also somebody that does this full time, and I'm somebody that I always try to be very honest with you. I set goals for myself, and honestly, if you don't set a goal for yourself when you wake up every single morning, are you actually getting that 1% better like Max Crosby always says? So here's the thing I want to do. I want to get 1% better today. I'm trying to get 195,000 subs. We need 384 more. I'm going to be live a little bit later on today, so you can hit that sub button if you want to join our live show at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If you also want to join the Raiders Report family, seriously, turn on those noties, join the Noti gang. Let's go to the next reason here of why I believe the Raiders could go out and get Griffin, and it's the biggest reason of all. Quite frankly, it's the reason why I'm even doing this show bright and early this morning. It's the Pete Carroll connection. And anytime Pete has somebody where we've seen this offseason, if there is a connection with him, former player, former coach, they're at least going to bring him in, and they're at least going to see, hey, can you still compete? Can you still go out there and help this potential football team? Now, Carroll and the Seahawks, they drafted him in the 3rd round of the 2017 NFL Draft. I believe it was like 90th overall, played 4 years from 2017 to 2020, and he made the Pro Bowl in 2019 under Carroll with that Seattle Seahawks defense. And when you consider the fact of that connection, Pete has just got this almost, it's kind of hard to explain the presence that he brings to the field. And I feel like I've said this so many times already this offseason, but these Raiders players have said it. Like, they're having a lot of fun out there. And when you have the opportunity to bring in somebody that is also very well known for being a great locker room presence, for being a stand-up human being on and off the field, when you combine players that kind of have that Pete Carroll thing about them where they're just great human beings, and he could still play at a good level, this is obviously going to be somebody that the Raiders are interested in. Hell, that's why they brought him in for a visit. So I wanted to be able to look at the 4 years that Griffin had when he was with Seattle, when he was with Pete Carroll. And, these numbers here are actually very impressive. Young, first 4 years in the NFL. I mean, 15 PBUs as a rookie tells me they might have been trying to pick on him a little bit. And, sometimes you get picked on as a rookie. But to really be able to answer the call, and that 2019 season was his best season of all. I know he didn't have any interceptions, but when you actually look at the numbers, you break it all down, it's why he ended up making the Pro Bowl in 2019. Also, I thought 2020 was a better year than what his PFF numbers are going to show, and it's why he got paid by the Jacksonville Jaguars when he ended up hitting the open market in that 2021 free agency class. But, let's look at 2019. That 77.0 overall grade. The coverage grades are really what I always look at for more of your outside cornerbacks. And yes, Griffin is an outside corner. He's not somebody that's played in the slot really at all his career. He's done it at times just because guys just have to do different things. But predominantly has been an outside corner. So when you talk about the Raiders, he had a Wednesday visit. He's got the Pete Carroll connection. As you can see, when he was with Carroll, he had 4 solid years in the National Football League. But some of you are going to go, well, Mitch, 2017, 2020, that was a long, long time ago. What the hell were you doing all those times? I care about 2024. I care about the now. But when you really sit down and you look at Griffin, 29 years old, about to be 30, still got some good football years left in him, and he played really solid last season. I know that some people are always concerned when some players come from a good coaching staff, but at the same time, I don't want people to be nervous that we could potentially get somebody coming from Kevin O'Connell in the Minnesota Vikings. What I want people to think about is he was good last season in 2024. Do you believe in Pete Carroll, and do you believe in Carroll's ability to be able to build corners? I know I personally do, and that's why when I talk about corners and when you talk about Carroll, there's always that, well, let's see if it works. Let's see if it's going to go. If he had a good year last season, could he have a better year this upcoming season? The way I think about Carroll and corners is the exact same way that I think a lot of Raiders fans associate Rob Leonard with defensive line players, where you're going, yeah, he might not be the best defensive line player, but I believe in our coaching staff. Can we get the most out of him? You combine Pete Carroll with Marcus Robinson, Joe Woods, 2 coaching staff members on top of Carroll that have done nothing but really solid things with guys in the secondary. Shit, man, let's roll the dice here. Let's see if we can bring Griffin in. So when you look at his numbers last season from a coverage standpoint, played in 17 games, started in only 3. And honestly, even then when you look at how he finished the year, he also finished the year, I thought, very strong. But he was targeted 57 times, gave up 31 catches. That's actually a really impressive number. 429 yards. I believe it comes out to about 13.4, 13.5 yards per catch. But a quarterback rating against of 75.8 for somebody who really wasn't a starter. Those are really solid numbers for the Minnesota Vikings. And then the 2024 PFF grade, the overall of 64.3. His NA for pass rush, there just wasn't enough, snaps to be able to get that overall grade. Run defense, still somebody that's not afraid to put his nose and not afraid to hit somebody. Coverage grade, which is really what we care about, 62.4. Shaquill Griffin, no matter what you think about him, it's not a bad signing because no matter what, he's going to be extra competition this time of the offseason, and he's going to make this locker room better. He's going to make the Raiders better. And if you know that there's a player that can make your team better, quite frankly, I don't see why we wouldn't go out and at least try to get him. Obviously, money is the situation. We'll talk about that, though, in just a little bit. So coming up here on the show, I'm going to break down some more reasons of why I could really see the Raiders going out and getting Shaquill Griffin. And me saying that probably doesn't surprise people. Quite frankly, if me saying that the Raiders could go out and get Shaquill Griffin surprises you, then I know that you haven't been subscribed to this channel, and maybe you should definitely hit that sub button. We have some more points coming up here, but for those of you that do not know, I'm a big old fantasy football guy at heart. It's how I started getting into this whole industry. And we're going to do a fantasy football league this year for the very first time with Raiders Report watchers. It's going to be a 12-team league, and we're going to give away 2 spots in the month of June. Whoever bangs the most in the month of June, which right now belongs to Fabian Moreno, a.k.a. the Night Devil, he's going to get a spot. Also, if you're watching us live and you send in a $5 super chat, every 5 that you send in, think of it as a raffle ticket for your opportunity to get in. Also, if you're like, dude, I'm busy, I can't join the lives, totally get it. It's why I'm literally doing this. $5 super thanks, and you're also entered in for a chance to win. We will announce the winners on June 30th when we are live on this show. So make sure you tune in. Good luck to all y'all out there, and make sure you bring it, because I know I'm going to bring it. Fantasy football was my first love. All right, let's keep it moving here of why I think that the Raiders could seriously go out and get Shaquill Griffin. Wednesday visit, Pete Carroll connection, solid 2024 season. extra competition. There's been a lot of good reports around Darian Porter, a lot of good reports around Eric Stokes. Jacorian Bennett, I think, is still trying to get it going here a little bit, and not that it's been bad, but predominantly it's been Stokes, it's been Darian Porter as your top two outside corners. I like DeCamerion Richardson, though I haven't really heard too much about him, which typically at this time of the year, if I'm not hearing something about someone, it's typically that they're just not showing out and showing up, and not ripping on Richardson. I'm more of just saying it. He's just not one of the Pete Carroll guys that was drafted, though. When you look at the build of what Richardson is, long, lanky, very athletic corner, like that kind of fits the mold of what Carroll typically looks for. But just like the Raiders went out and they got Germaine Pratt. And I'll say this, Pratt is the best linebacker on this squad, and he's going to help the overall team. If you're also looking at this Raiders roster, though, lots and lots and lots of young, unproven faces. So sometimes what you try to do is you bring in somebody that's played in 106 games, has got 82 starts underneath his belt, has got a Pete Carroll connection, knows exactly what that coaching staff is looking for a lot of these younger players. You know, somebody that played in 17 games last season, somebody who had 572 snaps. Now, 87% of his snaps last year were on the outside, and that's where he's going to play. I'd be shocked, quite frankly, if the Raiders brought in Shaquill Griffin and asked him to play in the slot. It doesn't make any sense to me. What I would really wonder, personally, is are they going to try to flip maybe Jacorian to the inside? Are they going to try to flip a guy like DeCamerion Richardson to the inside? Or are they just going to go, you know what, the more and more cornerbacks we have, the more guys we can go out there and we can throw out, and instead of worrying about a nickel position, instead of worrying about an extra safety position, they're going to sit here and go, Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Pola-Mao, Thomas Harper, Lonnie Johnson Jr., Shaquill Griffin, Darian Porter, Eric Stokes, Jacorian Bennett. We're all going to throw you out there on the secondary, and we're going to let you cook because that's going to be versatile, and that's going to be confusing. And when you have a good coaching staff, you have confidence in your ability to do those types of things. So one of the things that I've been promising people on this show is I want to start doing a new segment. And you know, one of the greatest to ever do it, man. Shout out to the great tuna, Brandon Jasper, R.I.P. He always did this thing when we would do these FaceTime calls, and they were always like top fives. So you're going to start seeing a lot more top fives from me, and I want y'all to interact. I think this is a good way to also keep a great memory of somebody that did nothing but show love to this channel, but it's also a better way for y'all to get to know me. It's also a better way for me to get to know y'all, especially in the months of June, July, and August. So who is your all-time favorite Disney character? Let me know down below. For me, I'm going to give you my top five. I got to go Mickey and Minnie Mouse. And for anybody that knows me, my grandfather, my grandmother, they were actually one of the first 100 people to have their picture at Epcot. And Disney is everything to me. My grandparents, they collect Disney stuff. So Mickey and Minnie is how I've always thought of my grandma and my grandpa. Simba, though I realize that is a picture of Mufasa. So shout out to Reed and the mustache. Stitch. Oh, is that actually Simba? Grown up Simba. All right, sorry. I only recognize him as the little Simba. I haven't seen Lion King in a while, obviously. Stitch, I got to put this one in here because my wife, Alex, that's like her favorite character, and she's been, I shouldn't say bugging me because that's going to put me in the doghouse, Pluto house. She's been wanting to go watch the new Stitch movie, so we'll probably go do that this weekend. And then Woody, Buzz Lightyear, Woody, absolute classics. Those are my top five. Those are Tuna's top five Disney characters. Let me know down below who y'all's favorite are. All right, let's go to the final reason here of why I could see Shaquill Griffin signing with the Raiders. We got the money to do it, you know, and when you got money, it makes things a lot easier, which I have learned after having a wedding, how expensive a wedding could be. Quite frankly, I wish I could almost steal a little bit of this Raiders salary cap space to help pay off a few things, but that's besides the point. I wouldn't do that to y'all. I wouldn't do that to the nation. The Raiders had $36.7 million before signing Pratt yesterday, and I don't know the exact number of how everything's going to shake out. For Pratt's contract, he gets $4.25 million. He has an opportunity to make an additional $500,000 in incentives. So, and salary cap always moves. Things always change. The Raiders will have to end up moving on from a player because right now, once the deal becomes officially official, which I would imagine happens at 4 p.m. Eastern time today, then we're going to have 92 players on our roster. We're allowed to have 91 just because of the International Pathway Program player, Laki Tassi, who started as a defensive tackle. He is now working as an offensive guard. So we will have to move on from someone. But if you just want to take 36.7, subtract 4.25. That's how much money we're going to be around. And for a guy like Shaquill Griffin, it's not going to cost a lot, right? Like, it's going to cost you probably in that $3 to $4 million range. It might even be a little bit less than that, quite frankly. But overall, we have the money to do it. We want to add extra competition. And I do think that overall, this could be a good move by the Las Vegas Raiders. So one more time here from the top. I believe that the Raiders could go out and sign Shaquill Griffin. He had a visit with the Silver and Black on Wednesday at minicamp. He's got that Pete Carroll connection from playing 4 seasons with him from 2017 to 2020. He had a solid 2024 season overall, showed that he can still get it done. 29 years old, he's about to be 30, and adding that extra competition to a young cornerback room, I think makes a lot of sense for this team, and we have the salary cap space to do it. When you have opportunities to make your team better and you have the money to do it, I believe that that's how smart organizations work. So if the Raiders go out and they sign Shaquill Griffin, make sure you're subscribed to the Raiders Report because we will be going live today or tomorrow, whenever it happens, here on the Raiders Report.